Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video is going to be the personality type tag. This is a writing tag created by EmberBlakeWrites, and I was tagged by Markus over at writer Markus Regius. I'm going to leave both of them linked down below, as well as all the questions, as always, in case you guys want to do the tag. This tag is based off of the 16 personality types of the Myers Briggs test, and there's a series of questions about yourself and your personality and your writing, and it looks like so much fun, so let's just get straight into it. What's your personality type, Comet? Huh? No, hungry and cuddly is not a personality. Question number 1, what is your Myers-Briggs personality profile? I am an INTJ, which stands for introverted, intuitive, thinking, and judging. Based off the website, it says it indicates a person who is energized by time alone, who focuses on ideas and concepts rather than facts and details, who makes decisions based on logic and reason, and who prefers to be planned and organized rather than spontaneous and flexible. This personality type is also called the architect, which was actually a career that I briefly considered back in high school. I'm just going to read the opening introduction off the Myers-Briggs website because I feel like it summarizes it pretty well. It can be lonely at the top. Being one of the rarest personality types and being among the most capable people, architects know this all too well. I just thought that was really funny. They make up just 2% of the population, and women with this personality type are especially rare, forming only 0.8%. It can be difficult for architects to find people who can keep up with their non-stop analysis of things. People with this personality type are imaginative yet decisive, yup. Ambitious yet like their privacy, yup. Curious about everything but remain focused. 100%. I'm obviously not going to read the entire personality profile because it's very long, but I'm going to just briefly touch on this one other paragraph because I'm going to touch on it in a second. It says, architect personality types dislike rules, restrictions, and traditions. For them, everything should be subject to questions and reviews. When they can, architects often act alone, and their approaches are usually innovative and unique. They may not wait for others to catch up to them. Because of this, they're sometimes not as sensitive as they could be to the thoughts, desires, and plans of others. Do with that what you will. Question number 2. According to the 16 Personalities website, what are your strengths and weaknesses? I actually haven't looked this up yet, so let me go to the strengths and weaknesses page. Okay, strengths. Quick, imaginative, and strategic mind. Yeah. High self-confidence. Independent and decisive. Hardworking and determined. Open-minded. Jacks of all trades. Okay. And architect weaknesses. Arrogant, judgmental, overly analytical, loathe highly structured environments, clueless in romance. Question number 3 is, do you feel like your personality type is accurate? If not, what did the profile get wrong? They got a lot of things right. I definitely think that I'm a very logical and analytical person, but I still have that creative, imaginative side, which in my brain work really well together because I'm very logical, but I come about the logic in unique ways. So the easiest way I can describe it is back in high school when we were doing like geometry proofs, I was really, really good at those because there was a very set structure of rules that had to make sense, but it was trying to manipulate those rules to prove your point that was a really fun challenge for me. So that kind of thing I definitely agree with. As far as the sometimes social and romantic cluelessness, yes. Open-minded, 100%. I am a great devil's advocate. I can see anybody's point of view and pick out where they're right. Even if I am 1,000% strongly against them, I can see their point of view and argue for them, if that makes sense. As far as the confidence thing goes, I wouldn't say that I'm very confident, but it has definitely gotten better in the last couple of years. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm a naturally confident or self-conscious person, or if just I had a lot of trauma in high school and have a very shaky internal system. I don't know. A last thing that I want to say is really accurate. I was scrolling through and they have a couple quotes throughout that sum up INTJs, and I actually found this one, which is one of my favorite quotes of all time, and I didn't realize it was on here, but yeah. It says, "You are not entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to your informed opinion. No one is entitled to be ignorant," by Harlan Ellison. And that is like my main stance in life. The main thing about this that I think doesn't fit me is the dislike of rules, restrictions, and traditions. I am very much a creature of habit, but I also think that it makes sense for me in this personality type because I don't respond well to rules that I don't think make sense. It's like how I don't necessarily have a problem with authority, but I do not deal well with blind authority. Once I respect a person, I will listen to them and I will do what they ask. It doesn't matter to me what uniform you're wearing. It doesn't matter where you are in the work hierarchy. If I don't respect you and if I don't think that you are someone worth following, I couldn't care less what you say, which has gotten me in trouble at work many times. But it also means that the people I do get along with, I really get along with really well. So as far as rules, restrictions, and stuff go, I love my little traditions and my routines and the rules that I have for myself. And to be fair, a lot of this might have to do with my OCD because there are very strict rules in my brain at all times. But I think that as long as a rule makes sense to me and I can see the logic behind it, I am very happy to follow it. If they just say, oh, you can't do this just because, that I will have a problem with. So this one is not quite accurate, but to a certain degree. Question number 4. How do you feel like your personality affects your writing? I think that because I write fantasy, I use those strengths in my world building and my magic system because I feel like even things that are illogical have to have a very strong basis in logic to be illogical in the right way. So, for example, magic systems. Even though you can really just say because magic for anything, that's going to be a very weak magic system that a lot of readers aren't really going to get behind. But as long as you have the very strict rules, even if they're just in your head for what your magic can and can't do, you can manipulate those rules to do whatever you want. And I think that that definitely helps me in those cases. Another way that this affects my writing is that I don't write much romance at all. I've actually realized that even though I have written a couple small romances in my stories before, I usually don't add it until like the 3rd round of revisions because it's just not something that I naturally assume would happen. But once I really get in my characters' heads and really know them, then sometimes some romance just naturally blossoms. But it's not something that I'm writing in because I don't consider romance. But as things naturally evolve, I'm able to recognize, oh shit, that's romance. Which sums me up as a person and my overall romantic experiences. Question number 5. Have you ever written a character with your personality type? If so, describe your character. And I don't think that I have. Obviously, I've written characters that had parts of me in them, but I've never written a character that I think had my personality type, because if I was a character, I would be very difficult to work with, because everything has to be so logical and have all of these rules, and I'm very stubborn and I make my decisions for myself, and I don't like being told what to do unless you tell me why I'm doing that. And I think that that would just be a very frustrating character to write, because I feel like the character, you know how sometimes your character just gets a mind of their own? I feel like I would butt heads with my character. So I know that I personally am a pain in the ass, and I just haven't written a character that's that much of a pain in the ass. Question number 6. Do you struggle to write characters with different personality types? And no, I don't think so. I do struggle with characters that would be the exact opposite of me. I don't usually write very social characters, and especially people that are very emotional and social. I just have a hard time making it believable, I guess. And I just naturally kind of write more distant characters. Not that they're necessarily not social, but I just don't tend to write characters that are socially outgoing and all of that stuff. Just, it doesn't really occur to me to be social, I guess. So I wouldn't say that I particularly struggle with it, but I don't do the extremes very well. Question number 7. What are your strategies for writing characters with different personality types? I'd say my strategy is the same for pretty much all of my characters, is really get to know the character, get inside their head, and figure out what they would be doing. And I guess this also comes from a logical perspective, because once I know my character, I just have to write what would make sense based off of what I know of them and their personality, and I use a lot of logic to do that. I'm not saying that my stories are all cold and distant and pure logic, but that's how I approach things, and then I obviously add layers and layers on top of that. But for the most part, once I know my character and I know this is how they act, this is how they think, this is all, this is them, and then, okay, what would make sense in this situation? What would they logically do if this got thrown at them? And even if their response isn't logical, I have to approach it from a very logical point of view. And once I know them, I don't find that difficult. So I guess really it's just knowing my character and being able to think like my character or think how they would think. Question number 8, what is your favorite type of character to write? I really like grumps. If they are moody and grumpy, I love them. I just really like grumpy people. Honestly, I have always been a little bit uncomfortable with overly polite people. Like, there was one coworker that I used to have that was just sunshine in a bottle. She was so happy and positive and friendly and never got mad at anything, and I was so uncomfortable with her. And I told her this to her face because, again, no social skills apparently, but she was just too much. And I'm a very positive person, but she was just so polite and kind with absolutely everything, and it just made me really uncomfortable because I need a little bit of friction in a relationship, and even if that relationship is coworkers or friendship, etc., I need a little bit of friction so that I really know where I stand. My closest friends, I need to be able to debate with them, and I need to really know where we stand, and I don't know, I just need tension to feel comfortable. I'm also a very confrontational person. So long story short, I like writing characters that are grumpy and bristly and that are just confrontational and argumentative. I'm just very comfortable with that personality type, and I really like creating that type of character because it feels very comfortable to me. I feel like the longer I talk about this stuff, the more and more people are just gonna not want to be my friend. I promise I'm a very good friend. Question number 9, what types of books do you like to read and write? What is especially appealing to you about them? So I like fantasy, I really like sci-fi, even though I haven't written much of a sci-fi yet. I've had a couple sci-fi projects, but I haven't finished a sci-fi. So mostly fantasy. I like stories with very hard magic systems. I like having a very solid set of rules and being able to kind of work within those rules to come up with cool ideas and solutions and just see where the story takes us. I like books that don't have much romance or don't focus on romance. I don't like highly emotional books. I prefer adult books rather than YA because I just don't like reading about teenagers most of the time, or teenagers that act like teenagers, because teenagers do tend to be more emotional rather than logical, and I don't respond well to purely emotional decision making. And the main example that's coming to my mind is the Mortal Instruments series. I hated every single character in that because I just found them annoying and emotional and whiny and stupid. And I'm not saying that all teenagers or all YA is like that, but if we're going just based off of the typical YA characters or the typical adult characters, I prefer the adult characters. And I guess the second part of that question is, why does that appeal to you? I feel like based off of everything I've said so far in this video, that's pretty straightforward and obvious, so yeah. And finally, question number 10 is to tag people. I don't like naming people to tag, usually. So anybody who wants to do this video, please do it. You are officially tagged. You can say that I tagged you. Also, if you do this video, please let me know down below because I always love watching other people do these tags afterwards. So definitely comment and tell me so that I can watch your video. I would absolutely love that. Again, all of the questions are linked down below so that you can check them out and do them for yourself. Also, speaking of comments down below, let me know what your personality type is because I feel like I know about 1 million INFJs from my friends. I think that I just get along really well with INFJs, especially if you're INTJ or if you know somebody who's an INTJ, because I want more INTJ best friends, please. On that note, that is all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please click the like button to let me know, and subscribe to stay up to date with the rest of my videos. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday, usually reading or writing related. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye.